SMD Law is the official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Check them out on the interwebs at smdalaw.com or at 866-529-3537. No matter where you are in the state of Michigan, Upper Peninsula, Lower Peninsula, it doesn't matter. They have an office near you. So whether you need to send a letter to an annoying neighbor, or you're a criminal and you need defense, maybe you just have problems with elder law, check them out, smdalaw.com today. The official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Call them first, then you act.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back, Spartan Nation. We now bring in the head coach of Eastern Michigan University. Man, he's a good one. Our good friend, the great coach Chris Creighton, starts off 1-0 with a nice win on the road, by the way, in a very tough environment at Coastal Carolina, 30-23. Big win, Coach, and I know everyone's going to ask you about it, but I'm still going to do it anyways, even though it's the low-hanging fruit. How about young Mr. Glass's play?
Yeah, so first game of the year, and felt really good about his off season, and he delivered. He really played a great game. I think the stats have him for 20 of 22. So really took care of the ball, distributed it, and made some really good decisions. And he just throws a very, very catchable ball. Is good with his feet, and really proud of his effort on Saturday.
Coach, were you a little bit surprised at how well he played just because it was the first game of the year, or did you see that coming?
Well, I mean, we look at the quickie stats at halftime. He's 11 for 11, and we didn't have very many plays in the game. We had, not a whole lot of plays at halftime, and I wouldn't have thought that he was 11 for 11. But I let our offensive coordinator know. I was like, hey, he's 11 for 11, and then ended up, like I said, with a pretty good percentage overall. So, yeah, I mean that's high, but I'm not surprised that he played well.
Coach, before we move on from that, and it was a big win, you also had your grand unveiling of your new facilities. I did not have the opportunity to come down, got the invitation late, but I will be down there after the season. But how special was that for you? I know it mattered to you a lot.
It did, and it does. It's incredible. I mean, anybody who's come to see it, is blown away. And again, it's not some Gothic cathedral. We call it our industrial cathedral, but it is for what we need and who we are. It's magic. We absolutely love it and are so appreciative of all the people who contributed to make this happen and all the hard work that went into it. So when a vision becomes a reality, it's always something to celebrate and something special, and we really feel as though that's happened here.
Coach, I want to ask you, because you and I are people who believe in keeping it real and honest. The job you did at Eastern Michigan before you had the new facilities was amazing, because really at times, I said this, you never said it, you almost wanted to recruit without people really looking at all of the facilities because it was from a position of need. It wasn't from a position of strength. And you recruited well in that spot. How much better is recruiting going to be now? You're going to be recruiting from a position of strength, saying, come here, come look, come see. I think it's amazing. Before it was selling future, now it's selling present.
Well, no, I'll tell you two things. Because when I took over at Wabash College in 2001, they had just opened a brand new athletic facility, and it is and was absolutely beautiful and ahead of its time. And they literally cut the ribbon 2 weeks after I showed up. I did absolutely nothing other than show up. And my 7 years there, we didn't talk about facilities very much. Now, obviously, when people are there, they see them and you show them, but you're talking about the people in the facilities, even when you have nice facilities. And I'll tell you, it's only been a month, but I find myself, I think I'm going to do the exact same thing. I think just naturally, in that people are going to see what we have and they're going to like it. But I believe no matter what the facility is, it's always about the people, and that's not going to change. And so, when you feel good about the people, and then you feel really good about, what the people are living in and working in, then it's a major positive. I will tell you this too. We had our last camp of the year, end of July, and so we invited the verbal commits and guys that we were recruiting to the camp. And so I sat down with a couple of guys in my office afterwards. Building wasn't done yet or anything like that. And we had a young man, basically say that he's been to some other schools in our conference and that, but nobody has anything like this. And he wasn't trying to make some kind of, provocative statement, but like when I heard him say that, my heart skipped beats. And when he left, I just kept replaying it. And I've never heard that in 6 years. Mm-hmm. And not one time have I ever heard that. And so, the reality of it is it does make a difference, in terms of just our efficiency and workflow and then also in the recruiting.
He's the great coach, Chris Creighton, head coach at Eastern Michigan, and quite frankly, really a blessing to the state of Michigan. Coach, this week, a little bit different kind of competition now. You're heading to Lexington to take on Kentucky Wildcats out of the SEC. This is no fluke of a product. This is a team that's been recruiting very well. In fact, coming into the state of Michigan, in your neck of the woods, Southeast Michigan, and recruiting very well. You're going to have a lot of kids on your team that know a lot of kids on that Kentucky team. Big challenge, but this is why you come to schools like Eastern Michigan. You got to love this challenge coming up.
Oh, no, no doubt. I mean, it's a monster challenge. I mean, obviously we're pouring through the film and whatnot right now, and I don't know what they ended up ranked, last year, but I think it was in the top 10 or close to it. They're really good. They're really good, and like you said, they're in a really good league. They play really good people. I mean, just watching some of their, clips from the bowl game against Penn State. And so monster challenge. This game was supposed to be here. And what a blast that would have been to open up our new building and the factory and have an SEC team. But, they ended up helping us pay for some of this building. So we're going to go back down there. And we were there 2 years ago and actually played really well. We lost 20-24. We're throwing the ball in the end zone on the last play of the game to win, and came up short. But this team is better than that team, we definitely have our work cut out for us.
Coach, when you say this team is better than that team, are you referring to this year's Eastern Michigan team is better than the last Eastern Michigan team, or this year's Kentucky's better than that Kentucky, or both?
Yeah, I was referring to Kentucky.
Okay.
I think that Kentucky's current team is better than their 2017 team.
Coach, you just made a really good point that I want fans to understand. This game was supposed to be in Ypsilanti. It was supposed to be that. But you know what? It was nice to get a check from Kentucky to help, and then you move the game down there. But I think a lot of people don't understand. Those are some sacrifices and stuff you have to make at a mid-major college, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it was a blessing to be able to turn around and get that money from them. Well, it's in the long-term viability of the program. I think it was a great move by Eastern. Agreed?
Because of the building. Because of the building. If the building wasn't a factor, then even though we would have made more money, then it was set up as a 2-for-1, play twice down there and once up here. And no, I do want a game here like that. I want Ypsilanti and Southeast Michigan to be able to come to the factory and see us host an SEC team. And I think it would have been awesome, but begrudgingly, but in the end, it was necessary, and what's best, in terms of helping support the building.
Totally agree. Coach, I want to ask you a little bit. Can you give us, I know you're not going to give us game plans or schematics or secrets. I'm not asking you for that. But just give the fans a quick overview of what stands out to you. And I know we're early in the process about Kentucky.
Yeah, they're, they just, whatever an SEC team, looks like, that's what they look like. I mean, they're just big, long, and athletic. And so, the 53 and the 30 yards, and then even just the 100 yards just seems to shrink. there's just with their defense out there, there's just very little space, and such fast closing speed. And then offensively, I haven't spent as much time watching their offense, but I just know that our defensive staff initially, just their quarterback's ability to run the ball, his athleticism, and I think his completion percentage was outstanding against Toledo, but he's just a major weapon with his feet as well, and so it's just again, it's just a whole nother dynamic that you've got to deal with, and so we started 9 first year starters on defense last week, and so we've got to grow up here in a hurry.
He's the great coach Chris Creighton at Eastern Michigan University, just doing an amazing job. Big test this week with Kentucky out of the SEC, but if we know one thing about Coach Creighton, he has no problem going up in those games, competing and winning. We'll be back.